Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello everyone, I am Karis. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, September 24th through Saturday, September 30th, 2023. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. As we start off the week on Sunday, we have a really interesting dynamic going on here in the cosmos. What's happening is that the last aspect before the moon goes void of course is the moon in her detriment in the sign of Capricorn, making a conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn. This moon-Pluto conjunction is life, death, transformation, the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's basically an aspect of let it go. Let go of the blocks and the fears that stop you at the gate. Now, after we have this moon in Capricorn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, the moon goes what's called void of course. What that basically means in astrology is that before the moon changes signs, the moon will make an aspect. This is the moon conjunct Pluto. And then the moon will spend a certain amount of time. Sometimes it can be a few minutes. Sometimes it can be a whole day. But the moon will spend a certain amount of time where the moon does not make connections or aspects to any of the other planets. It's like the moon is in the void. It's just hanging out, not connected to anything. So we use the phrase moon void of course or off course. When we have a moon void of course, it's a time where you don't want to schedule important meetings, important dates. You don't want to schedule anything where you want that connection to take place. The moon is just kind of hanging out. It's off course. It's void of course. So when we start off Sunday on the 24th, the moon makes that conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn, and then the moon is void of course until 4:29 Pacific time, and that's PM Pacific time. But while the moon is void, this is the point I'm trying to get to. While the moon is void of course, off course, hanging out, Mars shows up. Mars in Libra, its detriment. Mars the warrior, the planet that's looking to pick a fight, shows up in the sign of Libra, its detriment, and Mars makes an opposition to Chiron in Aries. What this means for you is that when Mars shows up looking for trouble, the rabble-rouser, let's get something started here. Mars in Libra, making that opposition to Chiron in Aries, is saying, wait a second here. I want to start trouble with you, Chiron in Aries. Chiron being the wounded healer. Chiron representing where our greatest woundedness has taken place and where our greatest healing can come from. So Chiron in Aries is all about healing your sense of identity, your sense of independent self, being true to yourself. Chiron in Aries has a lot to do with healing whatever the issues may be as far as the body you're in, your physical body. Aries is the newborn baby. Newborn babies don't hate themselves. They're not ashamed of themselves until we teach them that. So here's Mars while the moon is just kind of hanging out with that last aspect of moon conjunct Pluto that says, let the fears that block you stop already. And then Mars shows up wanting to pick that fight with Chiron and Aries, saying, wait a second here. You think you're going to heal your body issues, your independent issues, your sense of I am Aries issues? Now, when this happens, again, moon void of course, we can reflect on it, pray on it, contemplate on it, but don't let that Mars and Libra get you in the sense of do not doubt, do not go against yourself with whatever it is, this new sense of you. and knowing your beauty and loving your body and whatever the issue is, your sense of I am Aries. Do not let that Mars in Libra upset you, upset your stomach, this kind of thing. Because it's always when we're on that cusp of going to a new level of power, self-empowerment, that some kind of test will show up as a way of showing, do you really own this? You say you're Chiron in Aries and you're falling in love with your physical appearance and your body and your sense of self, but then a test, Mars, one of the bad guys, the lesser malefic in astrology, shows up not in a good placement. Mars in Libra is looking for trouble. It doesn't want to keep the peace. It wants to disturb the peace. And so here's this Mars opposition. Don't let it upset you or get to you. Your power, you have the power. Your cosmic superpower is to heal and fall in love with your sense and the perfection and uniqueness of who and what you are. Aries, this sense of I am is there's only one. You don't copy, you don't try to be someone else. You have your own sense of self, your own beauty. After that aspect of Mars opposition Chiron takes place, then we have the moon moving into fixed air Aquarius. And Aquarius is freedom. It's the mindset. It's the attitude. It's air, a new way of thinking, a new way of communicating. Air is always the ideas and concepts that are going on up in your head, which is where you live. You live in your own consciousness. So this new way of thinking about things and how you're moving into the future, friendship, Aquarius stuff, what you want to give back to the group, because Aquarius is very much about philanthropy and wanting to help in some way. So then the moon enters Aquarius. After we get rid of the bad guy, Mars in Libra, take a hike, Mars in Libra. And then the moon in Aquarius makes this beautiful, supportive, air trine flow to the sun in Libra. So when we look at the air trine flow with the two luminaries, the sun and the moon, and the sun and the moon, the inner and the outer, the masculine and the feminine, saying we're in harmony here. We have this new sense of communicating, and the moon and the sun in air is very light. It's like you've taken a breath of fresh air with this new sense of how you're going to talk to yourself inside your own head. Remember, air is communication. This communication with your new sense of identity, Chiron and Aries, is just a beautiful way of how you think, how you speak, how you communicate. Most importantly, in your own head. Then on Sunday, we also have the sun in Libra making what's called an inconjunct in Anticia to Saturn in Pisces. Now, Libra and Pisces, they just love each other. Those two signs, it's like an underneath language where they just get each other. And the sun and Saturn, two very powerful forces that have to do with the ego, how you want to be seen, how you want to project your image outwardly to the world, your sense of success, the sun and Saturn. So look at how the week is starting off, which is I've got this new sense of self and falling in love with yourself and your own unique individuality. Then this beautiful moon trine the sun, and then the sun making an inconjunct to Saturn and Pisces. The inconjunct is making the adaptations and adjustments to try to make something fit. And there's this underneath language going on between Libra and Pisces where it's like we just like each other. We get each other. So what that means for you is whatever you've been working on or whatever you've been wanting to express, sun in Libra, the sun. And this has a lot to do with love and spirituality, because when we look at Libra ruled by Venus, which is love, and then the Piscean aspect, which is the higher love, the compassion, the empathy, the spiritual love, this is a really nice adjustment aspect that we are closing out Sunday with. Also, as we're starting off the week, we are in second quarter to full moon energy. I can't wait to get to the full moon in Aries, but basically the energy is intensifying. It's growing more powerful. Second quarter to full moon, it always has a correspondence to summertime, no matter what time of the year we're in. So this is another aspect here, which is move forward, go for it. Use this energy, ride the wave, the cosmic energy wave of accomplishing what it is that you would like to accomplish. Monday, September 25th, the moon's day. I really like one of the aspects today. It's Mercury in Virgo. Mercury in Virgo is now out of its shadow storm cycle. It's out of its retrograde. Mercury in Virgo is so sublime in the sense of it being exalted and in its home placement. So that ability to use your mind, make decisions, everything that Mercury communicate is at its best. So this Mercury makes an Earth trine flow to Jupiter in Taurus. Now, Jupiter is the increase. It doesn't know when to quit. It just keeps going and going and going. Jupiter retrograde in Taurus means pull something back. And because this is such a Venus placement, the one thing about the Jupiter retrograde in Taurus is if you've got a sweet tooth, try to be careful about that. Because remember, Jupiter retrograde in Taurus is saying, it's not the time to overindulge in something, never is, but Jupiter does have that inclination. It's not the time to overindulge in some type of spending, food, sugar. Taurus says, it's just not the time to overindulge. It's the time to look at where and how can we pull it back a little bit. Think Saturn. Now, the Mercury in Virgo is just so clever and intelligent and very precise about how one little adjustment, Mercury in Virgo, can be so important and can save you so much aggravation, making that Earth trine flow to the Jupiter retrograde in Taurus. This is a supportive aspect. It's a trine. It's an Earth trine, which is also use some common sense. Mercury in Virgo helps you with that. Channel the desires, the over-the-top Jupiterian, I gotta have. Channel those over-the-top, I don't know when to quit desires into something productive. Use that energy as a workforce. Earth loves their work. Also, Earth represents money, finances, investments, crypto and all that stuff. So if you want to use some really good practical common sense, Mercury in Virgo, which is making that Earth trine flow to Jupiter and Taurus, what are we doing with the money? How can we cut back? How can we make the money grow? Then this as well is a wonderful aspect. I love this on Monday, September 25th. Also on September 25th, happy solar return, happy birthday to Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. They both share the same birthday, September 25th. They've been married for almost 25 years. And I do have to say that when it comes to baby names for girls, they have superb, excellent taste. Michael and Catherine obviously are both Libras ruled by Venus. They live for love and marriage and romance. Michael has been dealing with some health problems recently, but they stay together, happily married, and all the best to you both. Happy solar returns to you both. Enjoy. Tuesday, September 26th. We have a little bit of stormy weather here. Not too bad, but Tuesday we've got the moon in Aquarius making a air trine flow to Mars in its detriment in Libra. But then we have the moon in Aquarius making an opposition to Venus, now direct and too hot to handle, Venus in Leo. So what this basically is, we look at an opposition, and an opposition is potentially a separation. Now, the moon in Aquarius is, I want to rebel. I want to be free. I need my space. We all need space at times. Making that opposition to Venus in Leo, which is always pay attention to me, can't get enough attention. Venus in Leo is too hot. It's wonderful for performance, entertainment. It's very generous. It's very romantic, very warm-hearted and passionate, all of that great stuff. But the moon in Aquarius is saying, that's all wonderful and everything, but I need to fly off somewhere for a few hours or a day. The air signs, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, we gotta keep it light. If it's too heavy, too much, too intense, all the time, can't have space. We've got this opposition, and then you don't want to break up over it. But you would be surprised how many astrology clients I have that when the partner just wants some space, they're not doing anything. There's no cheating or wrongdoing, none of that. They just want some space, especially with their signs, so we can just mull around in our head and imagine and come up with ideas and such. Anyway, this moon in Aquarius then makes a square to Uranus in Taurus. So now we're looking at two fixed signs, Aquarius, Taurus, with a square, and with the planet Uranus, which can be a sudden and unexpected disruption. Bye-bye, I've had enough. Gave you no warning at all. This is the moon square Uranus, but people can only take so much. And we've got to keep in mind the cycle of the moon always, which is we're approaching the full moon. Always at the time of the approach of the full moon, we can feel the energy. It's just this higher, I almost want to say anxiety, but not really anxiety. It's just this more frenetic energy that at times can feel very chaotic or impatient. Let's say that. So the moon square Uranus in Taurus, where again this Tuesday, Mars's day, and the moon in Aquarius is saying, I need some space. I just gotta go take a yoga class or meditate and just center and calm it down in my own head, in your own head. And making that square to Uranus and Taurus, it's not worth a big major breakup, disruption, because this is the opposition and then the square almost back to back. Now, after that moon square Uranus and Taurus, the moon goes void, of course. Remember, the moon void, of course, is like, it's off course. The moon's just kind of hanging out, doesn't want to be bothered. Now, the moon is the emotional body. The moon is how we feel, the moon is how we self-care and want to comfort ourselves. The moon is always the nurturing mom, but also the inner child that needs to be nurtured. And we have different needs, all of us, different needs at different times, different emotional needs, what the emotional body needs. And with this moon in Aquarius on Tuesday, the need is for space, just to be left alone. And a lot of times, actually all the time, clients get very upset when the partner just wants to go into the man cave, for instance, and just chill. Aquarius is light, it's chill, it's not that deep all the time, like the water signs that want everything to be a big emotional drama. But anyway, then the moon enters mutable water Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, at 5:18 p.m. This is Pacific time. And so the moon in a water sign where it's very happy to be, it softens up. Well, water likes it close. Then they want to be all cuddly and huggy again with the moon going into the sign of Pisces. And then the moon in Pisces makes a conjunction to Saturn in Pisces. So the moon and Saturn coming together in Pisces. This is what is it going to take? What is the realistic Saturn? What is the realistic things that we need to do, not only to accomplish stuff, which is what Saturn loves to do, but to be close, to show respect. Saturn is all about the respect. And one of the things that respect requires is to not try to control the other person, obviously, and give them the space that they need. Moon in Pisces then makes an inconjunct to the Sun in Libra. And remember, those two signs love each other. They have an underneath unspoken understanding going on here, where the Sun and Moon in Pisces, Sun in Libra, are saying to each other, yeah, we get it. We'll do what it takes. But during the day, the earlier hours, not worth a big to-do about much ado about nothing. Remember, we're now in full moon, waxing gibbous, approaching the full moon culmination point. Wednesday, September 27th, we still have the moon in Pisces, mutable water Pisces, which is the dreamer, the Imagineer, coming up with your vision, your art for your life. Pisces is an artist. Also, Pisces, being the last sign of the zodiac, thinks a lot about its legacy. What do you want to leave behind? What are the tracks? We always leave tracks. Now, the moon in Pisces on this day, the 27th, makes a sextile aspect of opportunity to Jupiter in Taurus. This can be very grounding, very healing, very inner. It can bring in a nice, safe feeling that the moon in Pisces wants and needs. The moon in Pisces then makes an opposition to Mercury in Virgo. It's home and exaltation. Now, with the moon making that opposition to Mercury in Virgo, the moon is saying, because remember, the moon is what we need, and the moon in Pisces making that opposition to Mercury is saying, to Mercury in Virgo is saying, you know what, Mercury in Virgo, keep your practicality and no nonsense to yourself today. I need to dream today. I need to imagine and visualize and create. That's the moon, which is what we need emotionally, saying no to all the practical stuff. And sometimes that's needed as well. Mercury in Virgo on the 27th is making an inconjunct Antisha to Chiron and Aries. So now that works. That Mercury in Virgo saying to Chiron and Aries, you know, all these little things about yourself that you want to tweak and adjust, and a new look, a new sense of how you are within yourself and out in the world. Now I can work with that. Mercury in Virgo is happy about that, but the moon's not having it today. The moon in Pisces. The moon is, I'm approaching the full moon in Aries here, and I just want to dream a little bit as I am in preparation time for the full moon in Aries, which we're almost there. We're going to get there. Thursday, September 28th. Now, we're a day before the full moon culmination at 6 degrees Aries. And of course, we're in the waxing gibbous. And as we get to that culmination point, the moon in Pisces comes together, makes a conjunction to Neptune in Pisces. Neptune, Pisces, this is the ocean. It's the overflow of water, fertility. Sometimes it is just to your benefit to let it all out, moon conjunct Neptune in Pisces, and just have a good cry. It doesn't even have to be over anything specifically. It's just a buildup of emotion that wants to come out. Indulge in that. I always say, feel your feelings. So if you just want the cleansing, the healing, the purification, just the enjoyment of having a good good cry once in a while as we approach the full moon. Indulge in that. It's a natural process that we need. another thing about this moon in Pisces conjunct Neptune. The thing about Pisces, it has a lot to do, obviously, with endings and death and saying goodbye. Sometimes a certain chapter of our life, a certain time, a certain chapter is closing, and grieving that is appropriate. Also, I observe this. I'll never be able to wrap my mind around it, but what I observe a lot in this culture is that someone will have someone in their life that dies, they've passed, and then without an appropriate, I've got to stop and acknowledge not only the passing of someone that we love, but that a certain time has completely ended. It's never going to happen again. Now, for me, that warrants taking a pause and grieving that. So when I see people that are off and running and acting happy and productive, and you got to keep working no matter what, that's a big part of this puritanical culture, which is if you're not working and producing all the time, well then what good are you? What's the point? So when we lose someone or something, or again, it could be the end of a job, it could be the end of a horrible marriage, even if the marriage was not good, an ending has taken place. And so as we approach the full moon in Aries, this moon in Pisces and moon conjunct Neptune in Pisces, this is feel your feelings. If you feel overwhelmed, the full moon alone is enough. But if you feel like you've got to just let it all out, there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing wrong with you. It's called being a human being and having your emotions and your feelings. I've known people that sometimes just have a good cry because they feel the pain and suffering in the world around them. There'll be some tragedy perhaps that we hear about, and we're all connected, and we grieve that. We feel that no matter where we are in the world. So this is for Thursday, Jupiter's day, and Jupiter, as we know, it's over the top. So do what you need to do. It wouldn't be human to not feel your feelings. That's just how we're wired. It's a good thing. Don't feel badly about it, because I do have clients that feel like they just have to, suck it up and be strong and keep going and that kind of thing. No, you don't. You don't have to do that all the time. Just feel your feelings. Later on Thursday the 28th, the moon enters the first sign of the zodiac. Cardinal fire, newborn baby, corresponds to new life. Springtime, when the sun rises again, it's all filled with hope and promise and newness. The moon enters Aries. Friday, September 29th, full moon, 6 degrees Aries. Now, this full moon at 6 degrees Aries, this is being fired up about everything that is new and exciting and innovative. This is off and running, full moon in Aries feeling. So as we've spent the week releasing certain things and feeling the feelings and saying goodbye to things that have a closure in our life, now we are in full moon energy. This beautiful autumn harvest moon in Aries, 6 degrees. The first division, the first decanate of Aries. So we get a double whammy of fire. And what is Aries? Bold, confident, fearless. It is brave. If there's a building on fire and someone needs to rush in there to save someone or save someone's pet, you better believe it'll be Aries that does that. They just have courage, that sign. They haven't learned to be afraid yet. Newborn baby, Aries. So with this full moon in Aries, where the moon accepts the full illumination light of the sun, and the moon is our satellite, which means the moon mirrors back to us the true self-image, not the mask we all put on and the defense mechanisms, but the true self-image inside. This is the moon mirroring back to us, our sense of the sun, who you are. Then seeing yourself as confident, putting it all out there and not giving a dang what anybody thinks about it. Just go for it is what I'm trying to say. This is your cosmic superpower. This is the power you were born with. The cosmic energies, the astrology, is mirroring back to you that you have that bravery, that fearlessness to be yourself, express yourself, not care less what anybody thinks about it. Babies don't sit there and edit. Should I do this? Should I express that? Aries, firstborn. Aries, the newborn. Just see yourself, visualize yourself as just having the courage to go for it. This is what this full moon, this harvest moon in Aries is all about. Also, we're ushering in the holiday season, which is so exciting. So much to be grateful for. I say that all the time, but the holidays are just so much fun. We're all busy running around. At least during the holiday season, we can make a point to be with each other and enjoy. Also on this full harvest moon day, we have the moon in Aries making a conjunction to Chiron in Aries. So the moon is what we need. It's what we got to have. And so this moon in Aries coming together with Chiron in Aries is saying, you have everything you need within yourself. You have it all right there. And that's the foundation. That's where it all begins. Saturday, September 30th, we still have the full moon energy. You give it a couple days on either side, but we still have the moon in Aries making an exciting fire trine flow to Venus in Leo. Now, get busy because this is just so romantic, sexy, passionate, really nice aspect for the weekend. Moon in Aries trine Venus in Leo. This is wonderful for a party, a gathering, if you're launching something, a new celebration, whatever it is. This is very exciting, positive energy. Mercury in Virgo makes a trine flow, an earth trine flow to Uranus and Taurus. Now, the higher octave of Mercury is the planet Uranus. Mercury and Uranus making an earth trine flow. This can be brilliant, inventive. It can be you're working on something. And let's say you've been perfecting and you've tilled the soil and done all of that stuff that Mercury and Virgo loves to do. And then all of a sudden, that trine to Uranus and Taurus, you come up with that brilliant idea that you love, that will work. Love this aspect where the mundane mind, Mercury, higher octave, Uranus, they are just in sync working together. Later on, we've got the moon entering her exaltation in the sign of Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus, ruled by Venus. It wants it all. It's a great desire to acquire and have it all. So we love the moon exalted in Taurus. This is also beautiful romance and love over the weekend, however you choose to use that power that you have. But it's very loving, to say the least. And if you're into music, this ties in a lot into music and voice and sound vibration. The moon exalted in Taurus makes a nice sextile aspect to Saturn in Pisces. So this blending of the moon and Saturn in water and earth. If you just want to experience the joy of working over the weekend on whatever it is that you love, a creative project, or you just love the work, this aspect is very, very supportive. So enjoy that, take advantage of that as well. And I just love this week on so many levels. The emotion, the creativity, the releasing, as we approach such an exciting full moon in Aries, because again, it's being all fired up and rip-roaring and ready to go with something that is brand new and exciting. Do something new. Try something that takes you out of your comfort zone. It's brand new. And This connection here to the full moon in Aries is very much about that. This full moon in Aries is feeling like a kid again. Very light, very innocent, very new, and full of courage and confidence. Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous week. I will see you all in the stars.